Okay, it's the 31st of July, so why not take a look at the winter and the fall? Right now, we're going to look at the winter first. This is the period December, January, February. Right now, the control model for the winter looks a little like this. And remember, we're looking way out ahead, so don't get excited and say, "Oh yeah, you're doing it again." The thing I can tell you is that we've had a lot of thermal heating in the ocean in the Pacific, and it went through a cycle, and that cycle ended last year, and now there's less thermal heating under the oceans to warm it up. That's what messed up last winter. The thermals had a big impression on what happened, and then where things should have cooled, they heated, and it just kind of messed up the whole pattern and everybody's guess of what was going to happen last winter. I mean, nothing against nothing. Most people were normal last winter, considering years earlier we weren't. But we never got that big coastal storm for the eastern part of Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, and up to New England. So we got to keep our fingers crossed this year and see if that could happen. But again, the thermals are down, so the ocean temperatures in the Pacific should be down. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Here you go, right here. Look at this. Perfect, perfect, perfect for the 3-month period in December. And then this is out here, this is right here, so you got it up and you got it to come down. And therefore, you would say, okay, eastern part of the United States, specifically our area, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware, would be below normal, basically. And so that would be a good pattern. And then your line here of storms would go underneath this and then up, and then you got a chance for the coastal storms. But again, this is looking a long way in advance. So for that same period, you're looking at below normal temperatures and everything in blue, much below in green and blues, light blues or purplish if you want to call it. And up here you would see the warmer temperatures above normal and a little bit above normal down here in Florida and then out in the western part of the United States. So this would set up what I would say is kind of a blocking, and it would push all the cold air underneath. Okay, now these are your ocean temperatures, and you can see cooler down here, much cooler across the equator, cooler out here east of Japan and into the central part of the Pacific, cooler the eastern coast of the United States. So you would have warmer temperatures in the Gulf for the most part, a little bit below normal up here in the northeastern part of the Gulf. But down here where you would draw moisture, nice there. Look off the coast here of New England. You got warm waters here. It's a little colder out here, so storms that would come up and underneath what I showed you would have some warm waters to work with, so the chances of them the storms getting larger as they go are much better. Okay, so we're going to start now with August, which we start tomorrow with, and above normal to much above normal in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware. And again, a lot of those hot temperatures are going to carry on into middle of August before we start seeing any decline. I mean, there's going to be 90s. There's a heat wave going to go on now, south central and southeastern PA and parts of Jersey and Delaware, where temperatures will be in the 90s for at least 3 days. And I see 90s return next week, but I don't know if it makes 3 days next week. It might make two, so it wouldn't qualify as a heat wave next week. But this is either the fourth or fifth heat wave for southeastern and south central Pennsylvania here and then into New Jersey. So that would be your August, and then as we get into we get into September, things begin to change. We begin to cool in the eastern part of the United States. You're either average to below normal in the eastern part of the United States, so it all reverses. It cools off. The only thing that changes this is if you get a hurricane or a tropical depression coming up, and I think they'll begin to become more prominent as we go into August and into September. You might hear more news about tropical depressions and storms. As we move into October, things kind of level off. They become average, a little bit above, a little bit below. So it's like a transition month, and that's usually what October is. You get some colder days, you get some warmer days. I think the first frost this year for the northern part and most of the western part of PA comes around mid-October. Southeastern, south central PA doesn't come in until probably in November. As we move this ahead to November, you see the cold temperatures begin to come back in. We're normal to below normal. You can see Jersey, extreme eastern PA up in New York, a little bit above normal. But again, that's just a small little swatch there. But basically normal to a little bit below normal in November. As we get into December, that's when the cold air comes down. And again, this is the December outlook. And eastern part of the United States, especially the Great Lakes area, into Canada up that way, much below normal. And so it's looking for a cold December. So that's kind of what we're going to look out for as we go into later months. And again, this is only July 31st. I'm just kind of looking ahead to give you a general idea what it looks like right now. But again, if anybody watched my video on Sunday, where I was standing in the sunflower field, take a look at the sky behind me. It was smoke enhanced, so it wasn't blue. You can see it was more of an orangish kind of a shade to it, but very prominent. It was almost sunset, and you can see the sun's effect on the sky with the smoke. So just wanted to point that out in case you want to go back and take a look at it. It's only the first minute of the video from Sunday, but makes it interesting. But anyway, long story short, thermals are less in the Pacific, so therefore the oceans will be a little bit cooler this winter. So we'll see how that affects everything. All right, this is Fred. That's your winter outlook. First peek at it. We'll peek again at it in September. I'm sure we'll be tweaking it. Take it easy.